There is no autocracy, dictatorship like theirs. People have free access to information, can express their opinion, protest in any form, even in the army. We are active in social networks. This is not always good. This opinion will not always be constructive, useful. Our enemies can use it. But the servicemen will not get anything special for this. When they use the forces and means that are in a military unit or in a group of troops in a complex, we see that they launch equipment, launch their disposable rashists from it. Moreover, even if some commander had such an idea, he would not be able to do it because society would not forgive him. The Russians know that they will raise the salary of the soldier, give him a bonus, set the term of service, but they will not say that almost everyone who comes here dies. They are constantly recruiting people not to increase the army, but to plug the holes, because they die like cockroaches. After treatment, the Russian soldier thinks that in a year he will come home as a hero with a medal, earn a ton of money, and everything will be okay. Only a few know what will really happen. Maybe neighbors and relatives quietly say, but they have 290 people, and in the incomplete 2024 already 336,400.
And even the additional anti-drone armor didn't save them this time. As soon as the first tanks in the column were destroyed, the enemy realized they had made a grave mistake in choosing the location for their assault. The Russians had no other option left but to retreat. They tried to scatter in different directions, but in this terrain, hiding was almost impossible. This tank attempted to sneak past the tree line unnoticed, but met the same fate as its comrades. Its counterpart panicked so much that it effectively stopped itself by veering off the road straight into a ditch, where it got stuck. Naturally, the Ukrainians couldn't leave it there without a gift. The explosion was so powerful that the tank was torn apart as if it were nothing more than a simple tin can. Its turret was thrown several dozen feet away. One of the APCs involved in the assault also went the wrong way, right onto a mine. This Russian attack was doomed to fail from the planning stage. Now, all that's left for the Ukrainian FPV drone operators is to finish off those who wandered into foreign fields. Meanwhile, the soldiers who tried to escape into the forest will be consumed by hellfire. And for every piece of enemy armored vehicle that the Russians abandoned in panic, there will be a drone waiting for it. The crew of this vehicle even tried to put up a defense, but it's impossible to protect themselves from a kamikaze drone in this way. The crew of this APC was smarter and managed to evacuate the vehicle before it was destroyed by a direct hit from explosives into the open hatch. Give a thumbs up to the Ukrainian defenders who managed to repel such a large-scale assault, mainly using only FPV drones. During the assault, Russian forces overestimated their capabilities. As soon as their column of equipment approached the strike range, Ukrainian troops launched an attack. FPV drones attacked from multiple directions, targeting every piece of equipment in the column simultaneously. The initial strikes disabled the group's leader. After that, the remaining vehicles lost coordination and became easier targets. A Russian tank tried to change its direction, but immediately hit a mine. The same fate awaited its companion. It seems that one of the APCs realized the criticality of the situation and tried to escape the battlefield. The first strike forced it to stop. However, the drone operators didn't give it a moment to recover and immediately sent another group of kamikaze drones to finish the mission. A few more seconds, the burning tank tries to move, but the explosion of its ammunition permanently stops it. The crew of this armored vehicle didn't even wait to be hit. The moment they spotted the drone, they stopped on their own, abandoning any hope of continuing the mission. And although the first strike was quite successful, the Ukrainians decided not to leave the enemy any chance and struck again, ensuring complete destruction of the target. Give a thumbs up to the Ukrainian soldiers for their excellent work and high-quality video. This APC had to be destroyed with great precision. The drone pilot carefully and cautiously identified the most vulnerable spot to complete the mission successfully. In matters of war, it's better to be cautious, which is why Ukrainians deliver another strike to ensure the result is definitive. Watch how the additional armor dramatically flies apart in all directions from such a strike. At this location, the Ukrainians have been holding the defense for over a year, and attempting such a bold attack with an entire column of vehicles moving along the main road was definitely a mistake for the Russians, one that they paid for with their lives. Destroying the Russian T-72 tank at the front of the column, the Ukrainians blocked the movement of the other vehicles and began systematically destroying them one by one using manpads and drones. On their own territory, Ukrainians know the best positions from which to defend more effectively, dealing maximum damage to the enemy. Then begins the real hunt for those trying to escape the reckoning. While the entire battlefield is covered in smoke from explosions, several Ukrainian soldiers take advantage of the moment, attacking the enemy vehicles with grenade launcher and javelins. This gives the drone pilots a little more time to get closer and prepare for their attack. And it worked. While the battle for one stronghold continued, reconnaissance spotted another group of the enemy attempting to flank them from the side. Even with additional protection, the Russian armored vehicles couldn't withstand the impact of this strike. Meanwhile, drone operators are also keeping busy, searching for vulnerable spots in the armor of Russian tanks that had broken off from the main group when they tried to flee from Ukrainian strikes. This time, the Russians attempted to protect their equipment with a new type of metal framework designed to defend against drones, combined with electronic warfare systems. However, as we can see in the video, the skill of the Ukrainians proved to be superior to the Russians' ingenuity. Perhaps the crew managed to abandon the vehicle before its destruction, but the assault was certainly not successful. There are never too many kamikaze drones. They are small and maneuverable, which means they can strike the most vulnerable parts of a tank. Even if it is reinforced with additional armor against drones, a skilled operator will find the right spot to hit in order to effectively destroy the enemy. And what the drone doesn't damage, the fire from the fuel tank and subsequent ammunition explosions will destroy. Several enemy APCs attempt to break through the Ukrainian defenses, advancing rapidly from different directions. But their intrusion did not go unnoticed. One target was destroyed on the road, and trouble is already awaiting the other. This drone operator is a true master of their craft, and didn't just decide to strike the truck carrying infantry, but carefully chose the angle to make the hit as effective as possible. The explosion was so powerful that there is no doubt the entire crew of the occupiers perished. Even if someone managed to evacuate from the burning truck, it is unlikely they will survive on foreign land without reinforcements. And reinforcements are also out of the question, as they met the same fate as this vehicle. The Russians clearly did not expect to lose such a large number of their soldiers so quickly. And for those soldiers who miraculously survived such an attack, there will certainly be no motivation to continue fighting. Perhaps the wisest thing would be to surrender in order to save their lives. The driver of this vehicle hoped that the electronic warfare system mounted on the roof would protect him from drones. But he was wrong. The crew of this armored vehicle made the same mistake when they decided that invading foreign territory was a good idea. And yet another truck from the convoy couldn't pass unnoticed. However, it was somewhat luckier. Despite the powerful explosion, we can see that a significant portion of the crew managed to survive. Russian soldiers quickly abandon the crash site and flee into the open field. There, they join up with another group of soldiers. The soldiers who manage to disembark from the disabled APCs try to hide in the forest. But as soon as they reach it, Ukrainian infantrymen manage to stealthily aim at the target and deliver a direct hit. Just one precise shot, and this tank is eliminated. Its mission has ended forever. Meanwhile, other drone operators are working to destroy the remaining equipment. It is very rare to completely destroy a tank with just one FPV drone. However, a well-placed strike is highly likely to disable the tank. And once the tank becomes immobile, the crew has no reason to stay inside, making it an easy target. In cases where it cannot be captured as a trophy, the only option left is to finish it off. A group of light vehicles carrying soldiers attempted to swiftly enter the village, and they almost succeeded. Ukrainians managed to launch drones and strike just as the enemy was almost reaching their destination. A few more minutes, and perhaps the Russians could have completed their mission. But not this time. The kamikaze drone struck the first vehicle, triggering an explosion that caused the car to swerve sharply off the road, plunging into the dust and debris of what was once a thriving settlement. As the first vehicle slowly burned, leaving behind a pillar of smoke and a pile of twisted metal, the second managed to quickly escape the village, trying to break free from the threat. However, it too was soon caught by retribution.
TGM systems, recorded by the 47th Mechanized Brigade. Once again, Kursk, another fences of the true Cossack elite. Out of 30 vehicles, 10 were destroyed. In recent developments, Russia's counteroffensive near Kursk has been facing severe challenges. Reports indicate significant losses as the operation encounters fierce resistance and logistical setbacks. Russian forces are straining under the pressure, prompting Moscow to seek unconventional solutions. In a surprising move, they've reached out to North Korea for military assistance, highlighting the extent of their manpower and supply issues. A Russian tank with ammunition inside exploded after it was reportedly hit by an FPV of the 10th Mountain Assault Brigade in the Siversk direction. Russian heavy equipment and supply vehicles being targeted by Ukrainian FPV drones from the 1st Special Operations Detachment in the Kursk region. Ukraine's recent military operations have taken a daring turn with their high-stakes push in the Kursk region. In a move showcasing both boldness and strategic risk, Ukrainian General Oleksandr Syrsky has deployed some of Ukraine's best-trained forces to this northern front. This decision has raised eyebrows, especially as it leaves the key region of Donbass potentially vulnerable. Yet, Syrsky's gamble has so far paid dividends. The Ukrainian assault has disrupted Russian positions and caused significant strain on their logistics. The Kursk region holds strategic importance. Stretching from the Ukrainian border into Russia, it represents a potential springboard for offensive or defensive operations for both sides. Ukraine's advance has prompted an overwhelming response from Russia. Russian military command has amassed large-scale forces in the region, signaling the severity with which they regard this threat. The move has not come without challenges for Moscow. Despite calling up reinforcements and tapping into unconventional alliances, including enlisting support from North Korea for munitions and manpower, the Russian effort is suffering from the same issues that have plagued their broader campaign: high casualty rates, equipment shortages, and wavering morale. Reports indicate that even with these reinforcements, Russia is taking staggering losses in the region. The losses have put pressure on their command structure and cast a shadow over their ability to maintain effective resistance on multiple fronts. Syrsky's strategy, while bold, is not without its risks. By committing elite units to Kursk, he has bet that this maneuver can draw enough Russian focus away from more contested areas like Donbass. This region remains crucial, not just symbolically, but strategically, as it has been at the heart of the conflict since 2014. A slip in defending Donbass could shift the momentum, giving Russia an opportunity to capitalize on their ground advantage. Yet, as of now, Syrsky's gamble appears to be working. The Russian diversion to Kursk has strained their resources, leading to battlefield chaos and raising questions about their capacity to sustain prolonged multi-front efforts. With heavy losses mounting, including among their newly bolstered ranks, the situation in Kursk is developing into a potential tipping point for both sides. Should Ukraine maintain its offensive posture and force Russia to keep diverting assets northward, the implications could be profound. A weakened Russian front in Kursk might open a pathway for Ukraine to push deeper into strategic territories or ease pressure on the southern and eastern fronts. As the battle unfolds, all eyes are on whether Russia's reinforcements, including North Korean support, will tip the scales, or if Ukraine's tactical gamble will continue to bear fruit. One thing is certain: the outcome in Kursk could shape the trajectory of the war and impact the power dynamics across the entire front line. Should Ukraine maintain its offensive posture and force Russia to keep diverting assets northward, the implications could be profound.